think of someone that you love. Here, there, any dimension you have in mind. Maybe they're on the other side of the room.
And if you'd like to stand up so that you can spread the blessings, you're welcome to. Hi, Jackie.
Here's to the babies in a brand new room. Here's to the beauty in the stars. Here's to the travelers on the open road. Here's to the dreamers in the bars. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to the teachers in the crowded rooms. Here's to the workers in the fields. Here's to the preachers of the sacred word. And here's to the drivers at the wheel. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to the winners in the human race. Here's to the losers in the game. Here's to the soldiers of that bitter war. Here's to the wall that bears their name. Here's to you, my love, with blessing from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to the doctors in their healing work. Here's to the loved ones in their care. Here's to the strangers on the street tonight. Here's to the lonely everywhere. Here's to you, my love, with blessing from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to the wisdom from the mouths of babes. Here's to the lions in the cage. Here's to the struggles of the silent war. And here's to the closing of the age. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Here's to you, my love, with blessings from above, let the day begin. Let the day start.
Thank you, Randy. I always like it when he gets us started with that. It's such a good uplifting feeling and everything. So that's really very good. And besides Randy being our musician today, we have the honor of Reverend Charles Busch. He's with us. Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to light the Christ candle. And just as a reminder, every week, I light this strictly so that it is a visual for us to remember at all points in time. It's just to remind us of the Christ presence that is within us at all points in time. And so it's a matter of doing that. So it is being lit for that particular reason. And now today we're going to go a little bit out of sequence. John's going to be doing his announcements now. Right, dear?
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have your notes?
Yes.
Where?
Steel trap.
Oh, Lord. Well, besides your steel trap, there they are.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hello, everybody. First thing I need to talk about is shortly, sometime after midnight this morning, Reverend Lorena's beautiful mother, Rose, passed away. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Rose was a dear, kind spirit, and I think she just felt the need to move ahead at this time. Anyway, let's keep Rose and Lorena and all the kids in our hearts, and Lauren. It's a difficult time for them, I'm sure. Okay.
And I have a card if anyone would like to.
Yeah, we got a card for people to sign.
Don't let me forget it.
Remember the card.
Thank you.
All right, next week, Reverend Gene Sia will be here. Mike Test will be doing the music. It's the first Sunday of August. Yeah, we're on the back half of the year. So summer's going to start going away here in another month.
What summer?
Yeah, that's going to be some kind of something. It's also first Sunday, so if you're having an August celebration, bring something to share with the crowd. Speaking of sharing with the crowd, downstairs we have apple pie cake.
Sort of, kind of.
Yeah, sort of.
Apple crisp.
And I saw something else come in.
Yeah, Jackie snuck downstairs.
Yeah.
I don't know what she went down there.
So I think maybe I need to go down and check it out.
I'll let that go on. Tidy up the edges.
So anyway, that's next Sunday. But this Sunday, come down after the service, and we will pig out. And not only that, but next Sunday is also board meeting Sunday. And it just doesn't get any better than that. So, how are we doing with our fundraiser? Well, we're doing okay. We are doing a fundraiser, in case you missed the emails, but I don't think you did. We're up to $315 now on our fundraiser. The goal is $2,000. The real goal for the fundraiser is $1,000, because I'm going to match it once we get to that point. And the idea is, that's why Imagine is in there. That's why the Unity by the Seas was arisen. And that's going to be, we're going to purchase what's called a short throw projector, which sits right in that well and broadcasts the screen up above. And we'll be able to play movies and downloads from Unity Village. We'll be able to put words to the song if we're up there if we want. Anything we darn well want to do. So you have in your bulletin the little green envelope, little blue envelope.
I didn't know it.
It's just right for those spare $100 bills or little golden eagles, if you happen to have one of those around your neck. All right? So anyway, that's all I've got.
And a lot of the goal for doing this is to have this all in place and ready to go, and us know how to use it, by September the 13th, because that is Unity's World Day of Prayer. And from what I understand, they stream stuff, whatever that means. And so we would be able to show it here, and my hope would be to have Unity by the Sea open part of the day during the World Day of Prayer, and to be able to be seeing what's going on at Unity Village.
Yes. I'm thinking of, what's that thing where they were racing through the streets, shooting, bang, bang, bang? That movie? I don't know. I'm thinking of movies we could show.
No. Not that one.
I don't even know what one it is.
I don't either, but
Oh, but
it's got shooting in it.
No.
Animals. Wow. Mamma Mia 2, or 3 or 1.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find something that is uplifting, maybe?
Mamma Mia is very uplifting.
It is very uplifting.
It's a wonderful movie.
It's a feel-good, wonderful movie.
Okay, we will keep that in mind.
Well, don't hurry. I mean, you better hurry.
Actually, he's kind of curtailed on what he can order now and so on and so forth. It seems that our credit card got hacked a couple weeks ago. First thing, get up in the morning and I've got the telephone ringing from the credit card company saying, hey, did you order 3 wigs? Yeah, I mean, they're worth $2,400 for these 3 wigs. You know, so that was not the way to start a day.
At least they called you.
Oh, yeah, they're really, but they also ended up canceling the account.
But they sent it out overnight, didn't they?
Yes.
I don't have it memorized yet.
Yes.
Oh, that's a bad thing, John?
Yeah, that's, So, yeah, and then on top of that, besides that, some other place they ordered like $700 worth of clothing from the Philippines or someplace. And the wigs were ordered in Great Britain. So it's just like, interesting. Yes. I'm going to ask Charles to do an opening prayer now, if he will, please.
Morning. It's good to be with you, friends. The news of Rose's death really stopped me this morning, as I'm sure it has you. When I met them, I think a couple of years ago, Rose and Lauren here, something about them, I fell in love with them without even knowing them, those two. And so it stopped me and just reminds me of what we need continual reminding, that there is a life that, beyond this life, that holds us. And we trust that, and we imagine her there. And our prayers are so much with Lauren and Lorena and the grandchildren and all of them. We're their family and we hold them. Let us pray. Generous God, you teach us this morning more and more to trust in the way of love and of peace and of life, that life only gives on to more life. Thank you for leading each of us here this morning. May we hear the word we need to hear, breathe in the Spirit that will freshen us. For we need your healing, we need comfort, we need reminding that you would make use of us and send us out from this worship knowing that you would make use of us, that we can be peace wherever we are, we can be love wherever we are. For this usefulness we give thanks, and for this hour together we give thanks. Amen.
Thank you, Charles. And now we're going to do a congregational song, and you will find the words of it in your bulletin. What a wonderful world.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see 'em bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow so pretty the sky, also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. I think to myself, what a wonderful I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Randy. Okay, now we're going to do the monthly affirmation. So if you'll take the card out of your bulletin, please. This is the last Sunday in July, so this is our last time for this one. So let's do the one for Unity by the Sea first, please. Unity by the Sea is grateful for peace and freedom, which is made perfect in our lives by the loving grace of God within our world. And for ourselves, I am grateful for peace and freedom, which is made perfect in my life by the loving grace of God within me. And today for the daily word, Rose did it so many times for us. She was one that really, when she was here, she usually did daily word. So in remembrance of her, I'm going to be reading it today. Giving. In giving, I open to my highest purpose. The prayer of St. Francis tells it, for it is in giving that we receive. The simple act of sharing with someone opens my heart, creating an awareness of the energetic link between that person and myself. Every living thing is connected through the allness that is spirit. The carbon dioxide the plants need to survive is created by me, while the oxygen I need to breathe comes from the plants. Today I look around and allow myself to see all the ways I am contributing to the world and to realize all the world gives back to me in exchange. In giving, I take part in the divine flow of life. The more I give, the more my life receives, and the more expansively I express my divinity. Proverbs 18:16. A gift opens doors, it gives access to the great. And now Randy's going to do some music for us.
Well, it's a lot of responsibility right now. But I am moved, like everyone, I think. So I don't care if anyone else is, really. I am moved and mystified by the occasion that we call death. And I know it's no mystery to God, but it is to me. And there's always questions. And the question that just came up to me, which I really don't have, I'm going to solve it in this song, it seems to be, I fear that I can't love that person anymore because they're not here in their body form, and that I'm just putting words to a fear that I have. I'm not putting words to the truth. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse come rolling to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, in the sky. Well, I said to that undertaker, undertaker, please drive slow, for this lady you are carrying. Oh, I hate to see her go. Will the circle be unbroken by and by and by, by and by? There's a better home away in the sky, Lord, in the sky. So I followed close behind her, trying to hold her and be brave, but I could not hide my sorrow, no, when they lay her in her grave. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home away in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
Thank you, Randy. And now it is my pleasure to invite Reverend Charles Busch up here. But first, I want to tell you about his book. This is a book that he's written as our man of peace. I truly believe that he is here today at this point in time when we're trying to deal with Rose's transition. And I really think that there's a reason for it. But anyway, he has written this book, and it's incredible. And it's, of course, 52 meditations on peace. And it's really great. We had a copy of it ahead of time and been reading it, and it's just an absolutely incredible dialogue. And we have copies of it here today for anybody that would like to purchase some. So with that, Charles, it's now your turn. I think I'm done.
Thanks for that good advertisement.
Love you.
I don't have a big voice, but I prefer to just sit up here. If any of you have difficulty hearing me, raise your hand and I'll go right back to the podium, which I'm happy to do.
Can we bring the mic down, John?
Maybe. I could. I don't know if we need it.
Gonna give me something to hold.
Give you something.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be good.
Okay. I'm very pleased to be here. Most of you know my wife Kathy and I moved to Eugene a couple of months ago, and primarily for reasons of health insurance for her and more immediate access to practitioners. She's having a lot of difficulty with the heat, but we miss the coast for other reasons. You all are friends here of 25 years, and there's something about the presence of the ocean. I don't really have the words for that, but I miss the ocean in ways that I can't quite articulate. This morning, I had prepared a sermon about peace. That's really my ministry now, is peace education, and a lot of fire around that whole subject. And so I prepared a sermon, and when John sent his email early this week saying, "What are you going to preach on?" I was just about to say, here's the title, and for some reason, and you all have taught me to pay attention to intuitions and spontaneity. Lorena has certainly been a teacher in that. And I decided, no, I want to talk this morning about love and do a handout about peace. So you're going to get 2 sermons this morning, but you only have to listen to one, and it's the shortest of the 2. So there's good news. Would you help me pass those? Thank you. The other word I want to say before I begin is, I love Randy's music. And Here's to You, My Love. To me, that song goes right along with, in the level of its message and its music, with John Lennon's Imagine. I mean, I love the 2 of them equally. So thanks to Randy for that and his gift and the gift he keeps sharing. I overheard when I was downstairs 2 friends I've just met, Kara and Jerry, saying that this is, or this week is your 53rd wedding anniversary. Okay.
We love each other.
So whatever I say about love, you're welcome to raise your hand and say, no, it's a little different than that. What I want to share with you really started to happen about a month ago. A wonderful young woman by the name of Sydney Viles grew up in Lincoln City, and my wife and I are very much a part of her family, the Viles family. And she went to New York City after college and fell in love with a man from Denmark named Pike, who's a wonderful guy. And they came back to Lincoln City to be married. And I performed that wedding a month ago in the Bijou Theater. The first time I've ever done a wedding in a theater, and they started it off with 25 minutes of film clips from romantic musicals from Hollywood movies. It was an incredibly creative wedding, unusual in many ways. And I really wasn't told what the outline of the service would be until a few hours before. And Sydney said, and just before we say our vows, they wrote their own, Charles, would you say a few words about love? Well, now there's an assignment. I didn't say anything, but I thought, why don't you give me something easy? And who am I to hold forth about love? We're all beginners on that subject, and I have my own failings in being loving every day. So it's a daunting subject, but I was delivered, and I was delivered in this way, really without asking for it. 3 little stories, like parables, came to me, and Jesus, whom I follow, said, or it was said about him, he only teaches in parables and teaches nothing without parables. So these 3 little stories saved me, and I'm a great believer in stories rather than pronouncements, because stories honor us. they remind us of what we know. So I hope these little stories will remind you of how much you know about love. To the three I shared with them that day, and we're not talking about marriage here. I mean, all of our relationships have to do with love. This just happened to be an occasion of a wedding. A fourth little story, a personal story, had added itself to the original three this morning. So I'll share those with you. I hope they will remind you of how much you know, and that at least one of them might stick with you this week. The first story is about Harrison Hablatzel, who was my closest friend. He died about 10 years ago. He was a Buddhist Dharma teacher, and he taught a lot of insight meditation, and his method was the classic method of observing each breath. It's coming in and it's going out. And one evening, Harrison went to a social gathering at somebody's house, and not seeing anybody he knew there, he took his drink and he just went to stand in a corner. And the only other person in that corner was a little boy about 10 or 11 years old. So they stood there together, and after a few moments, the boy turned to Harrison and said, "And what do you do?" And Harrison, with a smile. Now, I'm thinking the boy asked that because he maybe heard adults. That's how you start conversations in our culture. What do you do? So Harrison smiled and said, "I breathe in and I breathe out." Now that's a playful, kind of a smart aleck answer, but it's a playful answer, and for him it was also deeply true. Well, the boy very seriously took that in, and then he said back, "I just breathe in." That seems to me an appropriate answer for a child. Because when we're children, love and caring and attention are poured into us. If we're fortunate, they're poured into us. And we give very little thought about what we give out. But you and I are no longer children, so we know that to live, each breath must also be spent. And the more we empty ourselves, the more we're going to be filled. Love is like that. In the great forests of the world, this is the second story, in the great forests of the world, botanists have only recently discovered that deep down, the trees send roots and fungus and tendrils, all of those feelers, to connect with the other trees. And so far beneath those great forests, there is a very tight and intricate woven web. On the surface, it appears that trees compete for space and for sunlight. But what's really happening is this search to connect and to form one life. The botanists have also found that in harsh weather and times, the more robust trees send nutrients to the weakest and the suffering trees, and in drought, the oldest trees send most of their moisture to the youngest trees. So in the great forests, the oldest and the tallest trees invariably are the trees with the widest and the most diverse connection to other trees. Love is like that. My father inherited our family newspaper in the small town of Howells, Nebraska. And so after his college years, he edited the family newspaper in Howells, population 760. And that was a going enterprise until about the mid-50s. And then with machinery and people no longer coming to town with their horse-drawn carriages, the number of advertisements began to diminish. People no longer could go farther than 3 miles to trade, There were fewer farmers because of machinery. They could do more acreage. And so seeing that dying of the small town and our particular business, he decided that he'd had nearly 20 years of experience editing a newspaper. Maybe he could teach it in a university. So he borrowed money. The best journalism school in the country was in Manhattan, Columbia University. And so he bought his first used car. My sister and I was 13 then, and my mom. We went to Manhattan for a year so he could get his master's and teach in a university. That was a wonderful year. And we all enjoyed it thoroughly, but it was very clear that my mother was waiting for the end of that 12 months because just the size of that city, its clamor, and also the culture. There's a whole different culture. It's not better, it's not worse, but it's very foreign to us. And my mother was eager to come back west where hopefully my father would find a university. Well, he started sending out applications and nothing had come back, and we were down to our last week or so there. And the dean of Columbia University called my dad and he said, I don't know if you're going to stay in the New York area, but if you do, we don't have a full-time job for you, but if you would like to teach editorial writing and the management of rural newspapers, we'd be happy to have you teach those two courses. And about the same time that week, an editor from the New York Times had my dad come in and he said, we'd like to hire you as a full-time reporter. So that's the big leagues, the New York Times and Columbia University. But knowing that my mother would not want to be there the next 15 or 20 years, he turned them down. But for me, the kicker, the beautiful part of the story is, he didn't tell my mother until 2 years later when he'd had a university job and they were already there. I love that part. So love is like that. The last story I'd share with you comes from a novel called Gilead by Marilyn Robinson. And in that novel, and you'll smile maybe when you hear this, the central character is a congregational minister in his 70s. I really like Gilead. And he turns out to be a good guy. But he is out for a morning walk. So this takes place. He's on a morning walk alone. And it's a beautiful, bright morning because it rained during the night. So everything is very fresh and very clear. And a young couple is coming toward him. They're holding hands, they're beaming, they're a lovely sight. And as they pass, he stops and he turns to watch them go, to watch really the beauty of them. And as the young couple go under the low bough of a tree, the young man jumps up and grabs the branch, which showers the two of them with raindrops. The young woman squeals and the two of them run off laughing. That's a beautiful image, and love is like that. A final word, it seems to me that love is a word of creation, and we do well to say that word often. And I think that each time we say it is a beginning. Thank you.
It is time for our offering blessings. So if you will take your gift in your hand, hold it over your heart, whatever, and repeat with me our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
I have another story. This goes back a few weeks to June. It's kind of a big month. That was my dad's birthday, was in June, and my dad died a number of years ago. My mother died the day after my dad's birthday, and my new stepmother was born on the day that my mother died, the same day of the month. A lot of family thoughts going on for me, and I realized at that time that Father's Day was coming. And I was just sitting at my desk, and a wave of reflection. I was thinking about my son. I have one son, and by the way, I go to Al-Anon. I go to Al-Anon for two reasons. I am the son of an alcoholic, and I am the father of an alcoholic. And I realized what that, or I began to ponder what that might mean for Father's Day, and all of a sudden a wave of appreciation came over me like I've never had before. I never had resentment at all towards my dad, but this love was just incredible. And I sat down with a pencil and paper, and in about 10 minutes I came up with the lyrics to this song, and within a day I had it written. And it takes me usually about 3 months to write a song. I get critical with myself and whatever. This one was just, all I am is the conduit of the fact that my father loved me. My father loved me, you know. He stood right beside. My father loved me, no, he did not hide. I could see in his eyes, I could feel in his hand how much he loved me. And from him there were bottles, and there was wisdom, and there was stark memories, showing the scars of his shadows and our dark family tree. He gave me laughter, he gave me baseball, and holding a dream for his place in the woods. Or so it seemed. He showed me love that he had for his wife, how to dance on one leg through all of his life. He loved Satchmo and Jackie Gleason. He loved Betty White. From his Dixieland soul, the man gave me life. You know, he asked me a question to open my eyes. He said, son, you know, there's two kind of guys. One that does it, and one that lies. Which one are you, boy? It'll color your life. My father loved me, stood right beside. My father loved me, and he did not hide. I could see in his eyes, I could feel in his hand, how much he loved me. And from him I am.
May God bless these gifts, multiply them, put them to your use. Joy, healing, abundance for all. Amen. Together, let's say this beautiful unity statement for peace. Let's stand. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict,
For love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, the many ways to worship God. For there is only one power and presence God, and that God loves each one of us equally. It is therefore the position of unity to urge all nations, their leaders, and their people to turn to God by whatever the name for guidance during these challenging times, and to pursue peace, not war. For this is what honors God of all of our faith traditions. Unity stands for peace in our lifetime.
from Isaiah. The wolves shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. And they shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord.
I will not depart from the killing of any child, no matter how lofty the reason, not my neighbor's child, not my child, not my enemy's child, not by bomb, not by bullet, not by looking the other way. I will be the power that gives peace.
Thank you.
And I think at this point in time, we circle up. And just as a reminder, copies of Charles's book is out there in the foyer.
And quite a lot of it. It's the only book I've read in the last 40 years. And it's worth it.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's very good stuff.
Oh, yes.
So you'll be warned, it's $15.
15.
Okay.
It's a bargain. Yeah.
And we got the guy here.
Unity only.
You're that practical.
And you can sign it for you. Yes. Okay. At this point in time, anyone that has any concerns that would like to place in our circle of life, please feel welcome to do it. And if you just schedule it, that's absolutely fine. God knows, with some messages takes care of it all. But I'm going to start it off with Lena and Rose. And Lauren. God be with you. Okay, shall we do the peace song?
light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we